Bitcoin is absolutely flying after yesterday's dump. In today's video, we'll be talking about what just happened, why is Bitcoin skyrocketing, and we'll also be going over the most recent news in the industry to keep you up to date. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. So as we can see, as per yesterday's video, I talked about how Bitcoin would likely dump, and what we got was a dump all the way down into this point of control of the Bitcoin range. You can see that we got rejected at the value area high, then we came back down on the daily time frame and we held this point of control as support. Now I will admit, when I was shorting this, I only took 10% profit out of my short before I went to bed. I woke up and Bitcoin was already starting to pump. So right now we got a massive, aggressive move all the way up to around 109.8K, just below $110,000. We are still outside of this range as I'm recording this video, but there is all the possibility that this forms a wick and we come right back into this range. Now you can see that there were a lot of shorts that actually entered the market, and so we went ahead and liquidated a ton of those shorts, which were at 108.5K levels and above. The reason why the shorts piled up there was because not only did we have the previous wick that we rejected from, which brought Bitcoin down into the point of control, but we also had this previous wick over here from June 16th, and as you can see, we exploded past it. Right now, what I'm looking at for Bitcoin is a potential deviation outside of this range for us to come back down and continue to chop. We got the dump that I discussed, but honestly, I thought that we were likely going to go a little bit further into a fair value gap, which was actually found below $105,000. But you can see that the wick actually went to around 105.2K, and then we got a massive explosive move to the upside. Now, actually, as I'm recording this video, it does look like Bitcoin may be rejecting here. Now, I'm not screaming to get into shorts, but what I am saying is that we saw on the liquidation heat map that a lot more people started going short. We liquidated those shorts, and right now there are way more people going long. If we go on the 30-day time frame, you can see that on the left here, there's around $11.4 billion worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage. And on the right, since we went ahead and liquidated a lot of those shorts, there is around $7.4 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage. So let's see what happens for Bitcoin. Will this just end up being a wick above the range and then we come back down and start retesting these lower levels? Or can we finally get a confirmed breakout? Now, I do want to warn you that there is indeed a lot of liquidity right around 110.5K, so this could potentially be a new zone for Bitcoin to reach. However, if we take a look at the price action right now, we're sitting right at $109,000. If we were to reject and fall back below into this range, right around 108.7K, close below and start moving lower, at that point, this could just be seen as a deviation outside of this range. And this price action exemplifies exactly why I've been talking about the summer chop. One moment you think that you're in the clear with a Bitcoin short as we drop to $105,000. The next, it looks like we might be making an all-time high. This is a very difficult environment to trade. So if you're not an experienced trader, don't take on too much risk because as you can see here, we think that we have a proper trade setup and then it gets invalidated and all of a sudden, Bitcoin is ripping to new all-time highs. That being said though, my base case still remains the same. I think we will be chopping around within this region over the course of the summer and it's not time to get too excited quite yet. I have said it once and I'll say it again, I don't think that Bitcoin will be making a new aggressive all-time high. When I say aggressive, I mean I don't think that we're going to start closing candles around $115,000. Could we get a wick above the previous all-time high over the course of the summer? Yes, that is a possibility, but ultimately I do think that we would be coming back down in this range, and you might not believe it as I say it right now, but there will be another opportunity to buy Bitcoin below $100,000 this summer. I am confident in saying that. All you need is a little bit of patience. Now, let's take a look at the news. So BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF now drives more revenue than its S&P 500 fund. This is crazy considering that the spot Bitcoin ETFs launched last year. Now, we also have President Trump that came out and he announced a new trade deal with Vietnam. Obviously, this is extremely positive after yesterday's news where he came out and said that they would likely not find a proper deal with Japan. And back to crypto, you XRP lovers might like this. The reason I added this is because I saw a comment on one of my previous videos to talk about XRP. Ripple seeks a US banking license, adding to list of crypto companies. So this is ultimately very positive for Ripple, for XRP. But as you know, and I've said this before on the channel, I am not a fan of XRP because it has been proven that they can go ahead and issue new tokens as they wish. So in my opinion, it is really a centralized coin, and I go nowhere near that. There are plenty of other altcoins that I'd like to keep my eyes on, and XRP is really not one of them. And next up, an update on Trump's big beautiful bill, which we discussed in yesterday's video. Congressman Thomas Massie says he has enough votes to block President Trump's one big beautiful bill in the House. I will make sure to keep you updated as this develops. Next up, BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF now holds just under 700,000 Bitcoins, currently valued at $74 billion. Now, a quick note on this. A lot of influencers, especially on Twitter, will say, guys, BlackRock owns 700,000 Bitcoins. That's not the case. It's BlackRock's clients that buy those Bitcoins through their spot ETFs. It's not BlackRock directly, so make sure you understand this. And speaking of the spot ETFs, let's take a look. We can see that there's nothing but inflows except for yesterday, July 1st on Canada Day. $342 million worth of Bitcoin spot ETF outflows. But as you can see here, BlackRock, IBIT were not part of those spot ETFs that were getting rid of their Bitcoin. And in terms of Ethereum, pretty much the same story, more outflows than inflows over this past month. Now back to the Bitcoin chart. So Bitcoin is sitting right around $109,000. What do I think will happen next? Well, I shared my base case. We talked about how Bitcoin would dump yesterday. We did get the dump, but we didn't dump as far as I thought we could. Potentially, this could just be the deviation that goes ahead and brings us lower. However, keep your eyes on the liquidity charts. If we're starting to see that more and more shorts are starting to pile into the market, because we're already close to these levels, it wouldn't take much to manipulate the price and grab some of that short liquidity. However, if we stay like this and more longs continue to pile into the market, it's at that point that I would comfortably say that Bitcoin would likely fall back into this range. Now, maybe we get a sweep of this previous 110.7K wick, which was set back on the 27th of May. Also, another 110.5K level on the 10th of June. Let's see if we go and touch these targets. However, right now, base case is I'm actually shorting this market. And I think we will get a deviation back into this range. Let's see what happens. As you know, I follow proper risk management and I only risk 1 to 5% of my portfolio per trade. Even 5% is considered risky. The reason I share this is because I know that some of you watch my videos and you have made significant profits doing so, but I want to warn you, you should never, ever be going all into your trades. I learned this the hard way when I started my trading journey. Don't make the same mistake that I did. 1 to 5% at most. 5% for me is only used when I have very high conviction in a trade. For the most part, it's between 1 and 3%. So right here, let's see what happens. Can Bitcoin trickle on higher? Of course, it's a possibility. But right now, we are below the previous all-time high, which was actually set on Inauguration Day. This is a pretty important confluence level, but I'm not ruling out another small move to the upside, grabbing some of this liquidity. And if we were to make an all-time high, as I said, it will not be an aggressive all-time high. That is currently my base case as the summer chop continues. And we're seeing the summer chop in full effect. I mean, who would have thought we would have gotten such an aggressive bounce? A bounce, yes, but an aggressive bounce outside of this range, I wasn't that convinced of this, as you probably know by now by watching my YouTube videos. As per usual, I have the links down below if you want to join my free Telegram community where I share the exact trade setups that I execute on. That is the first link in my description down below. And of course, if you want to trade with me, I have the second link in my description down below, which brings you directly to Bluffin, and you can earn tons of bonuses for trading as you normally would. Whether you're a whale trader or just a regular trader, thousands of dollars to be claimed. And that sums up today's quick video. Bitcoin got the dump that we talked about, but it didn't go quite as low as I thought it would. We got support right at the point of control of this range, and now Bitcoin surpassed its all-time high set on Inauguration Day. Is it time for us to make a new aggressive all-time high? No. In my opinion, this is not going to happen. We will likely chop around. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.